Welcome back everyone to Farming Simulator 19 and our gameplay here on the new Woodshire map. Today is going to be an interesting day, and the reason is it's time to take care of our wheat. We've got our combine here up and ready to go, but based on our experience with the fertilizing last time, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go. I'm not sure just exactly how good the AI is going to be on this field. So let's go ahead and get them started. All right, let's make sure we've got... Okay, there we go. The straw swath should be in effect. Let's go ahead and hire a worker. Let's let them get started. I also want to make sure not only do they get started, but I want to make sure we get the straw. Yes, there we go. There's our straw coming out the back. It's perfect. We're going to be using that for our cows. But the big thing here is just I want to see how the combine reacts, because I don't really have a great deal of confidence right now. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll be basically forced to try another field, sell this field and try another one, because it's not going to help us out if we have to do everything manually. That's going to keep our farm operation very small and very inefficient. So while this guy is finishing up this first row, I want to make sure that he gets turned around and, back on his way, and then we'll look at a couple of other things. Okay, looks like the traffic on the right is going to stop, but he is not going to go all the way out. Looks like he's going to turn on the field. Oh wow, he's actually going to make the turn in reverse. Okay, well that's an interesting way of doing it, but all right, yeah, so far so good. He's going to make the turn and hopefully back up. All right, so he's not going to back up the entire way. So it looks like we've got a couple of choices, assuming this continues to work out in this fashion. We can either shrink the size of the field to exactly the dimensions that are going to work, or we can do a little extra work at the end on our own to harvest the amount of wheat that he's going to miss. Now, of course, we've also got another piece to this puzzle that we're going to have to figure out, and that is when it comes time for us to get our seeder out here, which dimensions of the field does it work? Does it work the entire field, or does it work something similar to what the combine is working? So a lot still to be discovered. But so far, so good. We can deal with a few issues here and there, as long as overall the AI are doing what we need them to do. And as I've mentioned previously, at some point I will go about setting up course play in here. But for right now, I'm trying to do everything that we possibly can just with the AI before I go down the road of course play. All right, now let's come in. Let's take a look at our animals. You can see we've already had one animal born, so we're at 101 for our number of cows. Productivity is sitting at 65%, and that's because our cleanliness has dropped quite a bit. So I need to get in there and clean out some of that. But the good news is our water and hay supply has done great. So we are exactly where we need to be with that, and it's going to provide some opportunities in the future for us to expand the number of cows that we have. So all of that is looking good. Now let's take a look. You can see that our unnumbered field is not quite ready. We could harvest it right now, but it's not quite ready to be harvested. So we're going to give it a little bit of time. So actually what I want to do right now is, actually let's go back to the combine for a second. How close is he to being full? All right, not far. He is a little over 3,100 right now, which is about 70% for him. All right, so he'll be done here momentarily. So what I'm going to do, there we go, we're going to go ahead and get, there we go, let's get our loading wagon, because we're going to be using the loading wagon to pick up the straw. And then, of course, we're going to be using that to deposit over for our cows to increase their productivity. So this will take care of a couple of things for us. And of course, we can also sell the wheat to earn extra money. So we're starting to get some sort of a cash flow going on. Let's actually hop back in. All right, so he's at 75. All right, we're going to go ahead and get set up for him. Let's open the cover. It's going to be kind of hard to fill this thing without that. And what we're going to do is wait for this guy to make the turn, and as soon as he makes the turn, then we'll hop out here so we don't get into any crop destruction. That's one thing that's going to be interesting with Courseplay, is the crop destruction as these guys run out onto the field to unload the combines. We've already seen that when the AI move across the field, they do not destroy the crops. And when we saw that as this guy was making his turn last time, so that part is exactly where we want it. But if we happen to drive across right now, manually controlling this particular tipper and tractor, then there will be crop destruction. So we want to try to minimize that as much as we can. So I'm going to get prepared, and as soon as this guy gets up and going on this particular row, we're going to try to get him emptied out so that he can be on his way. Alright, let's see how long that pipe is going to extend. Okay, we should be perfectly fine right here. So we'll get this guy emptied out. We'll go and put this into the grain silo, and then we'll be back to start picking up some of this straw and distributing it to our cows. Alright, so we're at 3,000 liters of wheat. Hopefully before he gets to the end, we will have completely emptied him out and caught up with what he is actually harvesting right now. We haven't made it yet, though. Alright, you can see we're going to have to get beyond where we would probably want to go. Okay, he's just going to keep going along with us, I guess. Alright, that should be fine. I don't know that that completely took care of him, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. That is certainly enough to ensure that he's going to be able to keep going. Alright, now we need to head over to the silo. Here we go. Right. There's not a ton of room here in the silo, so this is going to be some tight quarters as we try to expand in the future the size and capacity of our equipment. So for right now, it's perfectly fine, but in the future, maybe not so much. We'll just have to see how that goes. All right, so now that has been emptied, we can actually come back in to the pricing, and down here we can see the capacity that we have in our silos. Right now with wheat we have 5,628 liters, and then we can see all of the pricing. Looks like the pork grain elevator would be our best option, but we're not quite ready to take care of that just yet. We'll wait a little bit before we take that first load to be sold. Alright, let's go ahead and lower our pickup, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on as we get turned around. We're going to pick up this straw. We'll see how much straw we end up needing and how quickly we're able to fill up the straw in the animal area, but my guess is that this should end up being more than what we need. At least I hope it is. We're not getting a terribly large amount of straw from each of these rows. You can see we're going to be at somewhere around 4,000 by the time we get to the end of this row. Okay, no, we're actually higher than that, 47, almost 4,800. Okay, so that's better than I had anticipated it being. You can see that we're getting into more crop destruction, so it looks like any thoughts we might have had of going back and manually harvesting that very end portion of the field is probably not going to be worth our time. It would appear as though the best course of action is probably going to be to eventually just shrink the size of the field. Okay, very nice. Looks like we're going to be able to fill up the loading wagon. And hopefully by the time we get this done and empty the straw for the cows, it'll be time to empty out the combine once again. So we're probably not going to make it through the entire field in today's video, but hopefully things will keep going as smoothly as they are right now with the AI. It does not bother me at all that the AI is not using the entire length of the field. That doesn't bother me. I understand why they're doing that, and we've seen that on other fields as well in the past. That's nothing new. In fact, I would prefer that to having the AI have issues trying to use absolutely the entire length of the field. So all that is perfectly fine with me. I have no problem shrinking the size of this field to what would work out best and most efficiently for us. Money is not really our worry here. You can see we have $447,000 remaining, so we've got plenty of money remaining to continue purchasing additional fields and or equipment as needed. So we're fine there, but right now really what we're trying to do is just set up the basics of our farm. Just get it set up and underway so we can have some sort of income flow. We'll be selling milk from the cows, and then eventually the plan is to start selling off some of the additional cows that are born each day. So that'll give us a certain amount of income on a daily basis. And then we'll also have the income. Oh, we are at 100%. I didn't realize that. We actually got to 100% quicker than I thought we would. There, so we're going to now head into the cow barn and let's dump this straw out. There you can see our cleanliness issue, as they have been a little bit messy with their food. Okay, our straw drop-off point is actually in between the water and the feed. Alright, let's see how this is going. Okay, so we don't get any visual of the straw being dumped in as I'm used to seeing, but let's take a look in our animal area, and sure enough, the straw does show up, and immediately we get that boost in productivity. So now we're sitting at 75%, which is exactly what we would prefer. All right, so excellent. That worked out. That worked out really good. Oh, I take that back. There's some straw right there. So it's a very, very small amount, but it is there. I'm very happy to see that, because I didn't see that before and was beginning to think we were not going to have any visual reference for it. Here you can see the grass is growing and could be actually harvested right now, but at a reduced volume. Okay, we'll park this here for now. Yes, he is basically full, so we're going to head over. And oh wow, this is a tight fit through here. So the timing worked out pretty good. We're going to head back over and unload the combine. I don't know that we're going to be on the right side in relation to harvested versus non-harvested part of the field. Yes, in fact, we're going to be on the wrong side, but we'll just have to deal with that. Thankfully, the AI has been nice enough to us that they're going to stop and let us do our work. All right, here we go. Maybe we won't have to get into too much destruction. All right, let's see if he'll just stop here. Yes, he's going to stop and go ahead and empty out. So this will be good. Then we can simply back out of here, let him continue on his way, and we'll have minimal crop destruction. All right, so we've reached 3,000. So I believe it's, what, 7,500? Is that what his capacity is? I always forget. Let's see. What is it? Okay, nope, it's not quite that much, because he is now emptied out. So it's about 4,500, it would appear. Somewhere in that neighborhood. So much less than what I was actually thinking. There we go. You can see fairly minimal crop destruction in the area of the field that we are actually working, so not too bad. Certainly would have been a lot worse had we had to continue moving our way up that row alongside the combine. Alright, there we go. Let's get this taken care of. Alright, I want to get one more load of straw right now. And then once we get that taken care of, then we'll go back and we might be able to take our first load to actually sell the wheat. Alright, here we go. So again, the bottom right hand corner, you can see, just in case you ever have any concerns about what you might be picking up, you can see in the bottom right hand corner it says straw below our capacity level. And this comes into play sometimes whenever you're trying to pick up hay and there's still a little bit of grass that's mixed in with it. Sometimes, particularly I found if you are very low in the amount that you've already picked up of one of them, and you pick up a little bit of the other, then it can swap over because you cannot carry hay and grass in the same loading wagon at the same time. So I've run into a few issues with that in the past, but generally it's not too terribly bad of an issue. Alright, so once again we're filling up our straw capacity pretty quickly. Certainly much quicker than I had expected. And the main reason for my small expectation going into this is because of the low working width. The very narrow working width of our combine, it is not near the working width of the ones that I'm used to using. So I figured the straw that it would lay down is much less. But this has ended up being very nice. So apparently the AI is just going to sit out here on the road for quite a while, actually, to let our workers do their thing. I'm both pleased to see that. It's not necessarily required because we're not actually going out onto the road with the AI. But it's nice to see that the AI are trying to work with us in their pathing. We'll take any help we can get. Alright, we've reached 80% of the straw and we are about to catch up with the combine, or at least get a little bit closer to the combine than I would prefer to be, and possibly disrupt his work. But so far, and hopefully this doesn't jinx it, but we've had no issues out of the AI. The combine has gone perfectly smooth and he's worked the entire field to this point. Now, I must point out right now at this point that the biggest issues we had out of the AI came on the portion of the field he hasn't gotten to yet. The other half of the field, so there's still some drama to unfold before we're all said and done with this. Alright, let's get this straw dumped out. You can see there ahead on the left. Trying to watch and see if it's visually updating and getting that pile is getting larger, and it just barely is. You can see another a few bits that are starting to creep in, but again, just not a huge amount visually, especially when you compare that to the fact that we're very close to halfway on the amount of straw that we can handle here. So that's all right. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and try to clean up some of this. If we can get our camera to cooperate with us. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to turn the loading wagon on, and it should pick up all of this as long as my route is fairly good. Alright, there we go. I believe we've got it all. It certainly appears so. We'll give a few moments for that cleanliness to update, and it should go up to 100%. Of course, you can see here there is water that has been there since the beginning. It'd be nice to clean that up as well, but I don't believe that is going to be possible. I don't currently know of it, actually a good way to do that. Alright, so you notice in the top right hand corner, full tank from our combine, so it's time to come and empty him out once again. And for that, we're going to go ahead and park off to the side. And yes, 4,500 he has reached. So we're back. Now this time, if I can remember, that is, we're going to attempt to actually pull the remainder of the grain to sell. So we're going to fill up as much of the capacity of our tipper as we can, and then this will be the first opportunity, because I'm not actually sure where we're supposed to actually load our tipper. So at this point I'm hoping that it's in the same spot. It appears to be, but time will tell. Alright, there we go. We'll let him fill up the 4,500. And then he's still got quite a bit of field left to go. But so far, so good. He's roughly halfway done. A little bit past halfway. Alright, approaching 3,500 liters. And we are done. Just let him get out of the way, and we will head over. So we're at about 40% capacity right now. Alright, so now let's find out. We don't have any room on the other side of the silo, what would be the right side from where we are now. There's no room to go over there. So it appears that we're either going to load up here. Let's see. Alright, so that's not wanting to let me... No. Alright, let's try to spin this thing around really quickly, if we can, in this small area. And then now this should not be the area, but we'll see exactly what this wants to do. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. No, that is should be for fertilizer, actually. So let's try this again. We're going to swing our way back through here. I don't suppose it could be over on this side out by the road. Nope. That would be a very interesting way of doing it, but it doesn't appear as though that's going to be possible. Let's go ahead and unload. And then we'll see if there is an option somewhere in through here. I mean, you can see the tanks there up above, so there should be a way. There we go, start filling. So we're going to fill with wheat. So we had to get in just the right spot here in the center in order for that to pick up. So I may have seen that, it might have shown up, that is, a little bit earlier when we were coming through here, and I just missed it. But if we end up having to go ahead and dump the wheat out before we come back through a second time to pick it up, then that's certainly not the end of the world. We can deal with that. So now let's come back in and see All right, we want to go to the pork grain elevator or the restaurant. I'm not terribly concerned about getting max dollar for this. It's really all about where they're located. So let's see where the pork grain elevator is. It is right there, in fact. Okay, so that's actually not far from where we are. You can see we'll take a right up here and should be there shortly. Now the restaurant is probably down here somewhere. Where might the restaurant be? That's the ranch. Where else am I missing? Is this it? Nope, that's biogas. Restaurant, there it is. So that's very close to our location. Then we got the railroad, we got Lime. All right, so not bad. Our selling locations are pretty close to our farm. All right, so we're going to make our way over to so this is going to be the restaurant. Wow. Interesting look to the restaurant. Very much of a country feel to that. Oh, there it is. It's back there. Okay, never mind. Different building. Okay, so there is more of a traditional style restaurant in the back. I was looking at that house thinking, is that really it? But thankfully, it is not. Some nice looking fields that we're going to see along the way. Looks like field 18 has either just been cultivated or is empty at this point. Okay, there's the stockyard. That should be where we would go to pick up our animals if we had our own trailer and we're looking to do that. So I need to come back out to the map here. So we're looking at pork grain elevator is going to be beyond this. All right, so we need to get across and onto this little road. Of course, this is the first time I've been back here. I have not seen this part of the map. Okay, very nice. And the question is, are we on the right side? And I'm guessing no. So that's the pork grain elevator. All right, so we needed to be over on that side. So let's see if we can just hop across here since there's a fence in the way. And we'll make our way back over on the other side. All right, let's see what we get over here. Wow, this is interesting. So if I spin this around, are we going to be able to get around this? I don't think so. This is certainly not what I was expecting. Maybe we can go around this way. Of course, I'm fully aware that it is entirely possible. Oh, we can't go through there. All right, that is the edge. All right, will you let me get through here? Now that I've worked myself into this predicament, will you... Oops, wrong way. Well, I definitely have worked myself into a predicament here. Because now I'm not sure how to get. Because we have reached... This is the upper end of the map, so I'm not going to be able to do anything there. So can I only do that? The pork grain elevator, it would appear. I was hoping this was not going to be the case, but this is a railroad only dropping point. I mean, and it's clear to see where the drop-off point is, the loading and unloading area. But I was hoping there was going to be an area for us on there as well for us to pull the tractor and tipper up to, but it does not appear as though that's going to be the case. We could always try hopping on the railroad tracks and doing it that way, but I'm actually a little surprised this is not a drop-off point here at what appears to be a mill. But no, that appears to just be part of the railroad drop-off. All right, well, we shall return and use the restaurant instead. I must admit, though, I am very unsatisfied with the way that turned out, and we'll probably be back at some point in the future to retry that, because I'm just having a hard time believing that I can't make that work somehow. But for now, just so that we can get this taken care of, we'll hop over to the restaurant and take care of this. Now, a very scenic location. It's a great place to put a restaurant, no doubt. And let's try not to run over anybody along the way. Alright, there we go. So we'll take our wheat to be sold, and let's see how much money we get. So I believe it was about 1,100 per 1,000 liters, I believe is what it was. So we'll get a little bit of money here, but not a huge amount. So we end up with 10,915. So not bad. Not bad, considering that is certainly not the entirety of our field. So it looks like we might be able to get somewhere around 18 to 20. Oh, look out. Now, for those of you who might not have played the game very much, you actually don't have to worry about running over the pedestrians. It's not an issue, but just for humanity's sake, I'm trying not to run these guys over. Alright, so that's going to do it for today's episode. We've had a little bit of an interesting journey here toward the end, but other than that, everything went smooth. We are still working on this initial field, and when we come back next time, I'll give you guys an update on just exactly how things are going and any issues we might have with the AI. So thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19.